Liverpool fans, the transfer window is heating up and there are some huge developments you need to know about. Bradley Barcola's move to Liverpool could be getting closer, while Inter Milan are preparing another push for Curtis Jones. We've also got the latest on Trey Nyoni after an impressive pre-season, a major availability concern for one Liverpool star, and fresh uncertainty surrounding Cody Gakpo's future. Plus, Andoni Iraola has a big decision to make on Jeremy Jacquet as Liverpool continue looking at more attacking options. So, if you're a Liverpool fan, make sure you stay with us until the end because there is plenty to get into. Let's get straight into the latest Liverpool news. Liverpool news. Bradley Barcola transfer moves one step closer as reason for U-turn emerges. Liverpool could be edging closer to sealing a deal for Paris Saint-Germain attacker Bradley Barcola. Liverpool fans caught a glimpse of how their side under Andoni Iraola will look at the weekend. The Reds' 2-0 win over Como on Sunday saw defenders Jeremy Jacquet and Ronald Araujo make their debut for the club in an experienced first 11. However, there will be hope amongst the Anfield faithful that there's a space yet in Iraola's first 11 to be filled by PSG winger Bradley Barcola. The Reds have been trailing the attacking star for months, hoping to get a deal over the line before the transfer deadline passes on September 1st. Today's news sees one of the biggest transfer sagas of this summer take a twist, with PSG readjusting their stance on the £145 million fee they're said to be asking for the 23-year-old French international. Elsewhere, the details surrounding a failed transfer of a current Liverpool star have emerged. Transfer moves step closer. PSG are reportedly open to offers below their original valuation for Barcola this summer. French publication Jeune Futur claims that the European champions are offering a discount on the rate after initially demanding around £145 million for the winger. The outlet says the Parisian giants are now happy to play ball with the Reds for a fee between £110 million and £120 million. PSG reportedly view the compromise as a small gesture that will encourage Liverpool to step up their pursuit of Barcola. However, the publication warns that PSG are under no obligation to sell and will steadfastly refuse to be more generous regarding their revised asking price. Fabrizio Romano also gave Reds fans an update. He believes a deal to take Barcola to Liverpool will now accelerate, with Liverpool pushing to get it over the line. Transfer U-turn explained. Further details have surfaced regarding Juventus's failed pursuit of Reds shot-stopper Alisson earlier this summer. The Serie A giants made an early move to try and snag the Liverpool number one, but their opening offer wasn't considered remotely suitable. Alisson, 33, reportedly agreed on personal terms to move to the Bianconeri, but Liverpool have chosen to keep him for at least one more year after extending his contract. Reporter Gianluca Di Marzio has added more information. On his podcast, he claimed Juve's first target was Alisson, and the player and Italian club had already reached an agreement. He added that the Brazilian had already selected his shirt number 2. However, with Liverpool eager to keep their number 1, Juve shifted their attention to Aston Villa and Argentina goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Martinez is now in limbo as Villa are on the verge of signing Japan keeper Zion Suzuki from Parma, while Tottenham's Guglielmo Vicario is heading to Turin on loan instead. Alisson featured for the Reds on Sunday in their win over Como, and he reaffirmed his commitment this season, claiming he is ready for the Iraola era to get underway. All the boys did well. The back four did really well. The players in midfield run a lot and fight a lot to get the results, and that's the spirit we have to keep on going for the next games, he said. I am really excited and looking forward, but feet on the ground. We dream big, but we work hard. That's the thing we have to do. We still have things to improve and don't have consistency for the full game, but we are going to get there. Inter Milan preparing new transfer bid for Curtis Jones after talks with Liverpool star. Inter Milan is preparing a new transfer bid for Liverpool star Curtis Jones after renewed talks with his camp, with the midfielder remaining its top target this summer. Inter Milan is preparing a fresh bid for Curtis Jones after making renewed contact with the England international's representatives. The Serie A giants remain keen on the 25-year-old midfielder, who is currently under contract at Liverpool until next summer. New head coach Andoni Iraola is keen to keep the midfielder, although Jones is understood to be looking for a more prominent role. Inter has already made 2 bids for Jones this summer, after first showing an interest in January. However, Liverpool made it clear at the time that they were not prepared to let the midfielder leave. Jones was a notable absentee from both of Liverpool's matches against Como on Sunday, with Jones not even named on the bench for either fixture. Further talks are expected soon after the Italian side recently made contact with Jones's camp again, with the new offer set to be independent of any potential departures. Midfielder Davide Fratesi is set to join Lazio, while Christian Aslani has also attracted interest from elsewhere. Italian reports suggest that if both players leave, Inter could have additional funds and space in the squad to make a move for Jones. Reports claim Inter are taking a similar approach to the one used in their pursuit of Tottenham defender Jed Spence. Inter completed a deal for Spence last week after Spurs eventually lowered their asking price, allowing the Italian club to secure the defender for the fee it wanted. With talks between Liverpool and Inter reportedly set to resume this week, the Nerazzurri are hoping their patient wait-and-see approach will deliver a similar outcome in their pursuit of Jones. Liverpool's £35 million, $47 million asking price for Jones has reportedly never been viewed as acceptable by Inter's hierarchy, particularly given his current contract situation. Instead, the Italian club is understood to value the midfielder at around £25 million, $34 million. Jones was heavily involved at the start of pre-season, featuring in all three of Liverpool's matches on their US tour against Sunderland, Wrexham and Leeds United. However, he missed the Reds' first friendly on home soil against Monaco, with the club describing his absence as a precaution due to a hip issue, while no reason was given for his absence from Como. While Liverpool did not provide further details on the injury, Italian media reports have suggested that the reason given for Jones's absence from the Monaco clash may have been a white lie. Liverpool.com says, "The longer the speculation surrounding Jones continues, the more likely it appears that he could leave Liverpool. The club is standing firm on its valuation of the academy graduate, but its negotiating position could weaken as the weeks go by." Jones is out of contract in 12 months, and if reports of his desire to leave are accurate, he may have little incentive to sign a new deal with Liverpool. Liverpool winners and losers from pre-season as Trey Nioni takes his chance. Liverpool's playing roster had plenty of winners and losers across the whole of pre-season, as Andoni Iraola considers his options moving forward for the campaign ahead. Pre-season is drawing to a close for Liverpool, with the first taste of real competitive action just around the corner for the team and new boss Andoni Iraola. It was a bit of a mixed training camp for the manager, which wasn't without its problems, as he was required to navigate through some tricky spells in his first few weeks in charge. The Reds have had a phased return to action, with the World Cup wreaking havoc for plenty of teams, as key stars featured at different times in the preparation period. Barring those who are injured, everyone is now available to Iraola, with the Liverpool boss overseeing 6 friendly matches across the summer, with 3 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats across those clashes. So, with the pre-season now ending, here's a look at the biggest winners and losers in the team from the training preparations. Winner, Trey Nioni. Perhaps one of the standout stars of the Liverpool pre-season training camp, Trey Nioni certainly made his mark in midfield for Iraola, particularly on the US tour. The academy starlet picked up more minutes in pre-season than he managed last season, pointing to just how much he has been trusted so far. The 19-year-old possesses plenty of calm and poise on the ball, something that is required amidst the chaos of an Iraola system that can leave players running all over the place. While it's unlikely that he will be a guaranteed starter this season, Nioni has proven he is more than capable of taking on some serious minutes when it matters and could add another dimension to the midfield moving forward. Winner, Dominik Szoboszlai. Dominik Szoboszlai looked back to his best again in pre-season, picking up a goal and 2 assists in the first 2 matches, returning in fine physical condition. The lack of a World Cup campaign could be a blessing in disguise for the 25-year-old, who is fresh off signing a new contract at Liverpool and could be handed a new leadership role in the process. If he can continue to take some of his pre-season form and fitness into the new season, then he will be able to get back to his very best once again. Winner, Rio Ngumoha. There is still work for Rio Ngumoha to do, but the pre-season provided another interesting test for the youngster to pass under a new manager. The winger was placed on the right flank for much of the summer, where he showed glimpses of being able to perform there instead of his usual left-wing position. Ngumoha picked up 1 goal during the training camp, and while he will be looking for even more output this coming season, expect even more minutes to come his way under Iraola. Loser, Curtis Jones. It's been a difficult summer for Curtis Jones, who has been heavily linked with a transfer to Inter Milan that hasn't fully materialised just yet. The star wasn't quite at his best for Liverpool in the pre-season tour of the US, which wasn't helped by a visible argument surrounding the captaincy armband. Since returning from the US, Jones hasn't been involved as he continues to work through a slight hip issue, but it's unclear whether he will now play any part for the Reds moving forward. Loser, Harvey Elliott. It's tough not to feel sorry for Harvey Elliott. The playmaker never expected to return to Liverpool after making a move to Aston Villa on loan with an obligation to buy after a small number of matches. That obligation was never met, however, and his return to Merseyside has come with a fresh challenge ahead. The 23-year-old had the chance to earn a place under Iraola, but it seems as though he hasn't managed to do that. It means an exit could be on the cards, with just 1 year remaining on his contract as the transfer window enters the final few weeks. Loser, Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez is a useful depth option for Liverpool when fit and available, but his injury issues have become a clear problem at a time when the roster is thin on options. Just minutes into the opening match of the pre-season, the defender suffered another muscular injury that will now see him out of action for at least the opening clash of the Premier League season. With Liverpool bolstering the backline this summer, Gomez's inability to take the opportunity to show his reliability could come as a huge blow. As he enters the final year of his contract, there may be question marks surrounding a renewal. Loser, Georgi Mamardashvili. The goalkeeping department is an area that could see significant change in the next year, as Alisson Becker enters the final 12 months of his contract. Georgi Mamardashvili was signed with the idea of him becoming the eventual number 1 between the sticks, but he has done little to convince others that he can do that. The shot stopper showed his usual frailties in the pre-season tour, while Alisson's return has added a calming presence at the back. It's unclear whether Mamardashvili will be able to claim that number 1 shirt for himself in the future, but the chances to do so are running out. Liverpool star now banned from playing for them for rest of the year. A player who impressed for Liverpool in pre-season will not feature under Andoni Iraola this year. Liverpool youngster Ifeanyi Ndukwe was absent from their final pre-season fixture on Sunday. The Reds rounded off their summer preparation with a double-header against Serie A side Como. Andoni Iraola's side drew 0-0 in a shortened 70-minute behind-closed-doors friendly at Liverpool's training centre earlier in the day. They then faced Cesc Fabregas's men again in a public match where Cody Gakpo and Jeremy Jacquet's first-half goals sealed a 2-0 win at Anfield. However, 18-year-old defender Ndukwe was not involved in either of the games, despite Iraola's 2 squads consisting of 30 players. That is understood to have been a case of Iraola preferring his other central defensive options over Ndukwe, rather than due to his work permit complications, which will essentially ban him from playing for Liverpool for much of this season. The centre-back joined from Austria this summer in a £2.6 million deal after he turned 18, with the Reds having agreed a deal in principle back in January. Yet, despite impressing for his new club throughout this summer's pre-season friendlies, he will not be allowed to play when Liverpool make the trip to Newcastle this Sunday for their first Premier League game of the campaign. Since Brexit, with the UK no longer part of the European Union, clubs now have to navigate a more complex work permit system to ensure players are able to move to England. That is especially the case for those who are yet to establish themselves at the top level. Liverpool need a governing body endorsement, GBE, from the FA to secure a work visa from the Home Office. But the 6'6" defender, who came up through Austria Vienna's academy and made just 1 senior appearance last season, has not yet accumulated enough points to obtain a GBE to receive a work visa. Ndukwe cannot play for Liverpool in a competitive game in 2026 because he didn't reach the 15 points target required to qualify for a UK work permit. Discussions are therefore ongoing over a potential loan move designed to secure his UK work permit. The club are assessing multiple opportunities, and a decision is expected over the next 2 weeks before the summer transfer window shuts. The better the league Ndukwe plays in, the more points towards a work permit he will earn. It is understood that with the right move, the necessary points tally could be achieved by January. This means Ndukwe may potentially still feature for Liverpool this season after the turn of the year if he was recalled. but that is a potential drawback for clubs interested in a loan. Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk has already been left impressed by his potential future centre-back partner, labelling Ndoukwe a big talent after playing alongside him in the first half against Monaco earlier this month. "Obviously, I saw the games in pre-season in America," Van Dijk said. "Big talent, big guy, and he wants to learn. I had a brief conversation with him, especially in the last couple of days. For him, it is just progressing. I know he has to go on loan, I think, so let's see where he ends up. The matter of fact is that he has to go on loan, and wherever he goes, he needs to learn, get better, and be ready when he comes back to hopefully stay there." According to the Mail, clubs in Portugal, Germany, Spain, Denmark and France have all inquired about taking Ndoukwe on loan, but there is a sense that Portugal may be his preferred destination. Jamie Carragher's prediction for Tottenham and Chelsea as Spurs eye Cody Gakpo. Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher believes Tottenham and Chelsea have a real chance of breaking into the Premier League top four this season, with both clubs having spent big in the transfer market. Jamie Carragher believes Tottenham and Chelsea are well positioned to secure a top four finish in the Premier League during the upcoming season, with Spurs still eager to sign Cody Gakpo this summer. Spurs head into the new campaign with Roberto De Zerbi at the helm, having steered them clear of relegation, and with the advantage of 2 months already spent embedding his footballing philosophy at the club, followed by a full pre-season. Chelsea, meanwhile, have appointed former Real Madrid boss Xabi Alonso as their new manager, who took charge last month. Neither club will have European commitments to contend with this term, following disappointing campaigns last season, with Chelsea finishing 10th and Tottenham 17th. Both sides have nonetheless invested heavily over the summer to resolve a number of shortcomings, and Sky Sports pundit Carragher reckons they are primed to shake up the established order. There's a real opportunity for Spurs and Chelsea, without European football next season, to make a real fist of it. There's a lot of questions about Manchester United playing more European games, Iraola coming in as well at Liverpool, and Unai Emery and Aston Villa losing a lot of their best players in the Champions League as well. So there's a real opportunity for Spurs and Chelsea to get into those Champions League positions this season, the former centre-back remarked on the latest instalment of the Overlap fan debate, sponsored by Sky Bet. Tottenham have invested $321 million this summer on Sandro Tonali, Mateus Fernandes and Jan-Paul van Hecke, while securing Andy Robertson, Marcos Senesi and Martin Dubravka on free transfers, reports Football London. High-profile departures have included Christian Romero, Jed Spence, Guglielmo Vicario, Radu Dragujin and $67 million signing Luka Vuskovic. De Zerbi is seeking to bring in fresh attacking talent over the coming fortnight, with Savinho, Gakpo and Omar Marmoush amongst those featuring on his target list. Andoni Iraola faces major Jeremy Jacquet decision as Liverpool consider more forward options. Liverpool are next up against Newcastle United in the Premier League, with Andoni Iraola facing some selection posers. Liverpool completed their preparations for the season with an encouraging friendly win over Como at Anfield on Sunday evening. Cody Gakpo and new signing Jeremy Jacquet scored in the first half as the Reds responded to successive warm-up defeats with a 2-0 triumph against the Serie A side. Andoni Iraola's side will now begin their Premier League campaign with his first competitive game in charge at Newcastle United on Sunday afternoon. And here we look ahead to the changes the Reds head coach could make when his team are next in action. Centre-back choice. With the real stuff now on the horizon, the reality is the Liverpool starting lineup will not be massively dissimilar to the one that took to the field for large parts of last season, given the relative lack of transfer activity. One change, though, will be in the centre-back position alongside captain Virgil van Dijk. With Joe Gomez injured and Giovanni Leone not yet ready to return after his ACL injury last September, it is now a straight shootout between £60 million man Jeremy Jacquet and on loan Ronald Araujo, both of whom debuted for 45 minutes against Como. Jacquet was the more impressive, but the greater experience of Araujo suggests he could be given the nod. Wataru Endo and Luke Chambers have also featured in the heart of defence in pre-season. At left-back, Milos Kerkez is the clear favourite ahead of Kostas Tsimikas, while the injuries to Gomez and Connor Bradley mean Jeremy Frimpong is almost certain to start at right-back, although the versatile Araujo can also do a job there. Calvin Ramsey has still not featured in the Premier League. In goal, Alisson Becker is the first choice ahead of Georgi Mamadashvili, while Freddie Woodman wasn't involved the last 2 weekends. Settled midfield, Florian Wirtz is the number 10 around whom Iraola plans to build his attack, with the Germany international likely among the first names on the team sheet. Behind him, the recently preferred duo of Ryan Gravenberch and Dominik Szoboszlai are primed to once again start, given Alexis McAllister only last week returned for training and Curtis Jones, wanted by Inter Milan, has been missing for almost a fortnight with a hip problem. Teenager Trey Nioni has been a regular option in the 2 deeper midfield roles during the summer. The more attack-minded Harvey Elliott, though, has appeared hampered by his lack of football in recent years and may not even make the bench at St James's Park. James McConnell is another engine room option, but could have departed on loan before the match comes around. Ngumoha or Kumas? One of Iraola's biggest decisions is who to line up on the right flank of the attack. Alexander Isak is the first-choice central striker, while Cody Gakpo's recent performances have been sufficient to suggest he will start on the left. The right-wing role then would appear between Rio Ngumoha and Luis Kumas, given Iraola has previously stated £34.5 million man Victor Munoz is not ready to start the season after his late return from the World Cup. Federico Chiesa and youngsters Kieran Morrison and Will Wright have had opportunities during the warm-up programme, but would have bench duty at best. Of course, much could change should Liverpool make a signing or two over the next few days, with the clock ticking down towards transfer deadline day.